Hi, everybody. I'm Debbie Stellhorn, the lead Libra Minister in the Temple of Witchcraft. And here with me today is Beth, our Libra Ministry Deputy in charge of mediation, and our Sagittarius Ministry lead minister and co-founder of the Temple of Witchcraft, Christopher Penzak. And we're here today to explain what mediation is in the Temple of Witchcraft. Over this past year, Beth has been doing a deep dive into spiritual peer mediation, and we've made some updates to our temple mediation process to reflect this a little more clearly. Mediation in the temple is not about being right or wrong. It's not about clearing up rule violations. It's about a spiritual community working together and receiving help from a third party not involved in the situation who can help you get past the point where you're stuck. When rules are violated and consequences follow that someone doesn't agree with, that usually goes to the lead minister of that ministry. And then if that doesn't work, to the board of directors. So I just wanted to make that clear that that is not what mediation is. And because it's not legal, it's not even workplace related, it's more like mediation in a spiritual setting. So with that little introduction, I'm going to hand it over to Beth in a second to explain what mediation is, since I explained in a couple of sentences what it is not. And she has much more to say about what it is. So, but first, we would like to call to the spirit of the Libra Ministry Lara Month to help us in our process. So we call to Lara Month, Lara Month, Lara Month, balance of the community, judge of sacred law, align our truth and purpose with divine justice. Let our words and message be clearly given and received within the highest will of our temple members and the Temple of Witchcraft itself. Hail and welcome. Blessed be. Beth?
All right. Thank you so much, Debbie, for that. Like Debbie said before, I'm Beth Beauregard, and I'm one of the deputy ministers in Libra, and today I'm going to be doing a brief introduction to what mediation is within the Temple of Witchcraft. So first of all, we're going to be saying, within this context, mediation is a process for resolving disputes in which a neutral individual aids in the negotiation of a settlement or resolution. The mediator provides a structure for the parties to communicate honestly, air emotions, and bridge their differences through a voluntary agreement. The temple provides mediation services when needed as a way for members to better understand their issues, interests, and needs, within the ultimate goal of maintaining respectful relationships within the temple. So the way that mediation is going to be performed within the temple setting is that when somebody has the need for mediation, they will reach out to the Libra Ministry. And at the end of this presentation, we will have the email address up there for you to contact us, which is just libra@templeofwitchcraft.org. But we'll have all the details there. So during the mediation, the mediator provides a structure for parties to communicate. The Libra minister or deputy will contact all parties in the dispute, typically via email, to notify them that a request for mediation has been made. At that time, the mediator will describe the process and ask if the individuals are interested in proceeding. So during that time, emails should be sent to each person involved in this individually. This should not be a group email to everyone. If any of the parties do not want to participate in mediation, then that's the end of the process, and everyone who's originally contacted will be informed, and we won't proceed any further from there. On the other hand, if all parties agree to mediation, the Libra representative assigned to the mediation identifies a mediator, and together both call each of them to get an overview of the situation and then schedule a mediation session. The session will take place over Zoom typically, but in some places it may happen in person. The Libra representative will coordinate the time, place, and date of the meeting. The temple classroom or the cottage can be used as a neutral location if it's available and the mediation requested is in New Hampshire. And if you would like to use that, then please contact the Temple of Witchcraft Secretary to check on availability. So mediations offered within the Temple of Witchcraft in alignment with the Temple's spiritual code, which promotes personal responsibility, a sense of community, tolerance, and maintaining boundaries. Temple members are expected to deal with disagreements to the best of their ability. However, if a dispute reaches a point at which the parties doubt their own ability to work out the problem, the Libra Ministry is available for mediation between Temple members. The Libra Ministry is responsible for conflict resolution within the Temple community, whether between individual members or between ministries within the Temple. The Ministry of Libra's responsibilities are interrelated and focus on justice, communication, and discernment. In its aspects of conflict resolution, inner, public relations, outer, and leadership education, community, the ministry seeks to articulate a vision of spiritual and magical growth that enhances each member's sense of self-worth and self-esteem within the Temple community. All mediation requests have to go through the Libra Ministry regardless of community or location. So whether you're in New Hampshire, whether you're in DC like I am, whether you're in Oregon, Vermont, all goes through the same process. In the event a new branch of the Temple is approved, Libra Ministry will assist in setting up the correct training for those there. For remote locations, an equivalent neutral classroom space will be sought with the leader of local Temple of Witchcraft communities. If the mediation is remote, the Libra representative is responsible for setting up the conference call via Zoom. So mediators must be approved by all participants. So we're looking for someone that is generally not related to the situation in any way and is a neutral third party. If 3 mediators are rejected, then the request for mediation will be discontinued. Most mediation situations are resolved in 1 or 2 sessions, and we cap it out at 3. In the rare cases where the dispute cannot be resolved through the Temple's mediation process, either party may seek a more formal resolution through the board. To request mediation, contact any board member to have the matter referenced to the Libra Ministry, or contact the Libra Ministry directly by email at libra@templeofwitchcraft.org. If the issue is considered appropriate for mediation, a representative from Libra will contact the parties for an initial discussion and to schedule the mediation session. So within the Temple, mediation is only available to individual members and the ministries. This is not meant to be counseling. This is meant to be helping to resolve something that is going on within our spiritual community. And here we have some of the characteristics of mediation, so everyone's aware. We're looking for it to be completely impartial and mediators having no stake in the matter. It's meant to be confidential. It's confidential up until a point. We do have some exceptions, but in general, everything said is going to remain between the mediator and the individuals. Mediation is meant to have an informal tone because this isn't meant to be judge or advocating in any way. It's just there for you to get what you need to say off your chest, and you have someone there to listen to you. And finally, it's voluntary. So ultimately, the people seeking mediation have ultimate control of the situation, and if at any point somebody wants to end the process, then they have the power to do that. And just as a note, remember that there's an objective or problem to focus on in resolving mediation. Mediation cannot be confused with counseling or relationship building. So I know we're kind of like drilling that home. We just want people to know that this isn't really meant to be to be replaced with a professional counseling situation, because this isn't meant to be used in that context. And this is just a quick rundown again of our mediation process, where we say where they're going to meet with the mediator, neutral location, as we defined previously. And then during the sessions, the mediator is guiding the participants through a structured process, but again, informally. The session will begin with the mediator presenting the problem as they understand it, after which each participant is going to have a turn to speak about whatever they feel is important. Next, the mediator will listen carefully while the parties discuss what's going on. And finally, the mediator is going to lead a process for building an agreement. And finally, the outcome is usually a document that's put together by all parties, recording the specific agreements made by the participants. And again, a participant may withdraw at any time during the process, but it is recommended that if you begin the process, you try to get through at least one session. Really, we're just looking for members to be putting their best foot forward in these situations and doing their best to resolve things amicably. And again, while most situations are resolved in 1 or 2 sessions, there are rare cases in which there may be a 3rd session. And again, things will be referred to the temple board in that case if it's not believed that Libra Ministry can resolve it. Finally, if you're interested in becoming a mediator with the temple, it's a 3-step process. So first you'll take the Introduction to Mediation course, which is this. If after hearing this, you're like, oh yeah, I don't mind being that, 3rd party informal person to just listen to conflict and try to find a healthy resolution for everyone, then you can continue and contact a Libra Ministry and we'll go and confirm your credentials. We're looking for you to be a ministerial member, so you have completed Witchcraft 5 if you're going to be offering mediation for the temple community. At that point, we'll have you fill out an application, and then you will take the rest of the mediation process course. This includes a pre-recorded class we have on conflict mediation and another class that's going to outline the mediation process in more detail. After that, there'll be reading and homework assignments, and we may do some role play sessions just to refresh throughout the years, because mediation doesn't tend to need to happen too often in the temple, so it's very easy to fall out of practice on what we should do in the situation. So we're going to try to keep things as fresh as possible for everyone. And again, if you're interested in becoming a mediator or you are looking for mediation, then just please reach out to the Libra Ministry. The email address is here below, libra@templeofwitchcraft.org. And if there's ever anything that you need, you can reach out to that email address. You can reach out to my personal address, Debbie's, MT's, Regine's. We're all here for you. So if there's anything that we can do, we're happy to help. And that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Beth. Thanks so much. Maybe Christopher would like to share some of his mediation experiences.
Sure. I think I've been in all the mediation trainings we've had in the history of the temple, so I'm happy to share. I've also been on all sides of the mediation process, so it's good to have that perspective. I think the first thing I'd want to share with anybody watching this video, if you think you need mediation or you want mediation, there's sometimes a feeling like, have I done something wrong? Am I spiritually a bad person because I'm having this conflict with somebody? And I just want to make sure everyone realizes that conflict's a part of life. And people have misunderstandings, and that's part of life. In our advanced teachings in the Society of the Temple, we often talk about the cauldron of community and the idea of that, the community is our teachers when they're fun and happy, and the community is our teachers when we're having conflict. And it's totally a normal process of being a part of community. So don't beat yourself up about that. And the fact that you're looking for help is a huge thing. So I think it's a really mature step, and I think it's great for when people want to resolve things in an amiable way. Debbie had asked me about what are some of the potential things you could ask mediation for, or how would this come up? Because it isn't making rules for somebody, it isn't arbitration, it isn't making a decision about something. And I would say the vast majority of mediation things I've been involved in or witnessed or know about in our community, it either boils down to miscommunication. So people are communicating, but their styles of communication, they're just not getting the information across. And so because there's a miscommunication, often one person feels the other person's been deceptive or harmful in some way. And often it really is just a result of people communicating differently and not meaning the same things with the same words or not having the same styles. The other thing that I found to be the key aspect of mediation is whose feelings get hurt, which is a normal part of life. People will say things, and part of that miscommunication, we might take it the wrong way. Or when you're in community, you know, you're not just having individual relationships with people, you're having relationships with individual peoples, you're having relationships with small groups of people, you're having a relationship with the larger group of the organization. If you're in a local community, you're having a relationship with that local community. And those are all different relationships. And when you're in community, things can be said and taken out of context. People can say something in a public forum and not realize that they're in a public forum. And sometimes things get back to other people, and there's hurt feelings. So often some of the most successful mediation has been just people having a chance to kind of voice their hurt feelings, for the person who's hurt their feelings to realize that that was not their intention, or get a chance to clarify, and really going back to the communication, clearing up the root of the communication to resolve and to heal those hurt feelings. Again, it's not counseling. We're not going back through the history of a relationship and every conflict you've had. It's usually a very specific event, and it's usually a very specific event that's happened in the context of Temple community. You know, so if you're hanging out socially with somebody and you have some type of conflict that has nothing to do with witchcraft, the Temple community, all that, that's something more for relationship counseling, or that's something for outside of the context of the mediation that we can offer. But if you're at a Temple event and something happens, or you're serving together on a project together, like you're both on the same committee, that's often where both miscommunication and hurt feelings can come about. Or if you're, you know, two different ministries that are working together in a project, but don't realize they're working on that they have the same goals. So sometimes people have that miscommunication, or you're working in a ministry and the leads haven't communicated clearly, or the deputies haven't communicated clearly, and you know you don't always have the clear story of things. That can create a lot of hurt feelings and miscommunication. So a lot of mediation is just coming to get clarity, in my experience, because in the end it's just about trying to make sure the agreement is about understanding where each person's coming from, and what their intentions are. So I've had experiences where people have spoken out, you know, about somebody, and it was taken out of context, and so people had to have a conversation about that. I've had members of committees have conflict and needed mediation about that. I've had, being in the teaching ministry for Sagittarius ministry, I've had people that have not understood each other on the staff, or members of the staff having misunderstandings with people in the student body. And again, it's not so much of like, you know, I got a bad grade on this homework, I want to, you know, have somebody agree that this homework is good, or I was told I was not going to pass the class. You know, I want someone to agree that I'm going to pass the class. That's something for arbitration and the lead minister or the board of directors. But if we think that there's an issue of communication, of style of communication, of processing communication, of just misunderstanding or hurt feelings, those are all avenues that I've seen really successful mediation happen with. So those are the areas that I've come from. So that's, I guess, what I have to share. Thank you, everybody.
Great. Thanks, Christopher. And thank you, Beth, for doing such a deep dive into this over the past year. So we're going to end our video. And again, if you have any questions, just email libra@templeofwitchcraft.org, and we will do our best to answer them. So thank you so much.